All right, shall we get started?
Yes, I think we can.
All right.
Since we're going to have a recording.
Let me just see if ePraise wants to join us.
Should we wait 3 minutes more?
Yeah, just 1 minute. ePraise is in the text chatter, so I want to see if they're gonna join us real quick. I have a couple sips of my coffee. Have Yeah. So royalty. Do you have any experience with Etherscan or Polyscan or Binance Scan?
Um, I don't really, but I use it to sometimes for just to check out my transactions and stuff like that. But I'm not really like good with it, or I just I just basically know what I know.
Yeah, that's a great start. That's already more than most people.
Yeah, so I'm actually excited about this out session. Yeah.
Cool. All right, let's get started. I am hopefully the sound is good. Um, bottom.
Yeah, it's good.
All right. Let me bam. Here we go. All right. Welcome to the How to Etherscan workshop. This is created by NSA and myself. Um, so thank you, NSA, for your help. Essentially, like, what is Etherscan? So Etherscan is a blockchain explorer for Ethereum. Um, we know that, right, blockchains produce a lot of data, but blockchains in and of themselves don't report data, for us. So folks create blockchain explorers so that we can interpret the activity, right, that's happening on a particular blockchain. So for Ethereum, you have Etherscan. For Polygon, you have Polyscan. For Binance Chain, you have Binance Scan. And it's essentially an interface where you can view all the transfers and interactions happening on the Ethereum blockchain. So essentially what we're going to do is we're going to explore addresses and we're going to explore tokens on Etherscan. Essentially, Etherscan allows you to search by addresses, transaction hashes, block numbers, particular tokens, ENS domains. Here we have a picture of the Bankless DAO multisig. And let me pop up Etherscan real quick. Doo-doo-doo. So we're using the um, Gnosis safe address for the DAO multisig. And you can see when we put it in the search bar, it um, gives us gives us all the information about this particular multisig. We can see the coins that are in the multisig. We can see who's created the contract and the transaction where the contract was created. Um, the different, one of the things that we can do is we can look at the individual transactions that go in and out of the DAO treasury. So again, if we go to these different um, tabs here underneath the main information, we can see, that we can see that all the transactions that happen within the treasury. We can see some of the internal transactions in the treasury. We can look at transactions based on, the ERC20 tokens that interact with the treasury or NFTs. So depending on the type of ERC token, we can look at different data. Um, the ERC 1155 and 721 um, are, generally like NFT type of transactions. We can also get information on the actual contract code as well. Um, and so essentially, what are the properties of an Etherscan page? And we're not going to go like over every single one of these, but it's just important if there's, you know, one slide that you want to keep track of from this presentation. Essentially, it's this image, and this is included in the cheat sheet uh, on the live sessions calendar event for this workshop. Um, and essentially, this is a little breakdown of all the different properties, some of which we'll go over. And of course, the majority of the information in this workshop um, came from an online guide that we found through 0x Illuminati. So just want to mention them as a resource. So basically a transaction hash, we'll go over some of the properties. A transaction hash is also a transaction ID. So every transaction that happens on the Ethereum blockchain has an ID, that links back to the details in that transaction. And every ID is unique. Um, there's also a transaction method that kind of describes what type of transaction that is. Every transaction, right, is validated within a block on the blockchain. So there's always a reference to the particular block that a particular transaction was a part of. And of course, there's an age or timestamp to every transaction as well. We also have, right, the where the token was transferred from, or who the token was transferred to. Um, and then, of course, every transaction has a particular value that was sent or received in that transaction. And because it's the Ethereum blockchain, anytime you pay gas fees, this is also tracked in the Etherscan transaction. This can be super helpful for people when they're running multi-sigs. If for some reason you need to keep track of the gas that you're spending as an organization, um, if you or the person that did the transaction like didn't record the data, how much gas they spent, you can always go back to the transaction and it'll tell you, the gas that was spent. Let's see. So if we go to the transaction hash, we can see the details of this transaction hash. We can see that it was a success. Again, the block, the timestamp, who it's to and from. And then at the bottom here is the description of the amount of gas for this transaction, given the price of Ethereum at that time. So what we're going to do is we're going, you can not only explore wallets and multisigs, but you can explore NFTs or fungible tokens as well. And towards the end of this, if folks want to, we can go to CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko and, or spend some time together um, scanning some addresses. But we're going to scan now the BanklessDAO token. And so if you'll notice the Etherscan has a search bar in the top right. And if you enter in Bankless, you'll see the Etherscan will, should autofill with the Bankless token, which you can select. And it's here that we can find out, the on-chain information about the BanklessDAO token. We can see things like the supply, the number of holders of bank token, how many transfers, the contract details are important. Anytime you want to put an NFT or token in your wallet, you should verify and at least check out the contract associated with that um, wallet, that token or NFT. Um, Maybe at some point in the education guild, we can have like a how to research NFTs session where we use Etherscan and kind of look at the contracts for NFTs to see if we can find any red flags. Um, but all this information is available on Etherscan. And just like showing transfers in and out of wallets, when you search an NFT or token, you're exploring the recent transactions with that token or with that NFT. But the same information is essentially there. Um, Transaction hash, type of method, the timestamp, to and from. And then, of course, since we're talking about a token, we're more interested in the quantity of tokens in each transaction, um, as opposed to maybe, uh, you know, other information. Um, you can also see in Etherscan the holders of tokens and find information about the total supply of bank token. Um, some of these addresses you can even look at individually. Most of the high percentage addresses of the bank token are liquidity pools. Um, but you can also, eventually find your own um, address in the Etherscan for the BanklessDAO token. There's also you can get decentralized exchange information from Etherscan, so you can see who's been buying and selling bank and how much and the value and what exchange they did this on. And of course, I wanted to give another another resource for folks, and I'll drop this in the water cooler chat. But it's called defined.fi. And just like Etherscan, um, you can use this to kind of search for information, price information about particular tokens, but you can also see who's been trading, buying and selling the bank token, how many tokens, the price that they buy and sell it for, timestamp. You can even filter based on people's wallets, and so you can see, like how many times they've sold, um, how many times they bought, um, and all this information comes, you can see, from Etherscan. Uh, so this is always interesting, to look at this data, and then of course they have a link to just view a particular transaction directly on Etherscan. Um, Another thing you can do with Etherscan is actually interact with smart contracts. Um, we're not going to get into detail on how to do that today, but if um, you can actually read contracts and query data in the smart contracts. Um, and again, anytime you deploy a smart contract to the Ethereum blockchain, it will show up on the Etherscan. Some uh, You can also create profiles on Etherscan, and so this allows kind of um, vetted information to kind of come into Etherscan. Um, so you can read contracts, you can query data with Etherscan, you can actually mint NFTs, so you can write transfer functions, and you can actually change the state of smart contracts through Etherscan. Um, some people, will even mint NFTs, for example. It's from Etherscan, uh, instead of minting from the contract page of a particular website. Sometimes this is just a more secure way of executing contracts. So, sometimes it's just a strategy for people that want to, not miss out on mintings. But then, of course, you can also do quite a bit of tracking of gas on Etherscan as well. So there's lots that you can do with Etherscan other than, just scanning the data. And we are just about done. Is there any, does anybody have an address or a token or a wallet that they want to check out? Who's got an NFT project that they've heard about recently? Let's see. Let's find out. Let's check out the Bankless Ninjas. Bam. Okay, so you can see here we have a Bankless, the white belt Bankless Ninja. We know there's 42 owners so far out of 400. I have a couple weeks of updates to do. You can see that there's a token ID. These are ERC 1155 tokens. And that this is on Polyscan. So I actually don't think I have to be on the Polyscan network to use Polyscan. But when we look at the contract for the NFT, we can see that the NFT. Somehow they've determined. I really don't know what all this is. So this should be a contract. It's an OpenSea token. Um, OpenSea, was essentially even though I created this token on the OpenSea platform, technically OpenSea is the one who creates, the NFT. I kind of just create it through their platform. Um, you can see that this, there's a link directly to some OpenSea sites. Let's see. What can we find out? Let's take the token ID and search that instead. Ba-da-bum. That doesn't give us much info. So we have a contract for the address. So this is where people just got to spend time looking at these things. Because you would expect this to take you to, information about the particular NFT. Um, do do do. What else can we find? Let's check a different NFT. All right, how about Pigeon Parlor? See, this is weird. This is where, since these are... Oh, no, maybe that's it. Let's go back. We got the white belts. If we look at the ERC 1115 tokens, nice. So here we can actually see all the people that have gotten Notion Ninjas. This is telling me it's been 35 days since I gave out my most recent Notion Ninjas, which means I'm a little behind schedule. I should be doing this every couple of weeks. But you can see all the individual... I really don't understand why it's from different people, but this again could be because, OpenSea is kind of managing this, right? It's not an NFT that I'm creating from scratch from a smart contract. I actually have another service creating it for me. And actually, this is showing all the ERC 1155 transactions from OpenSea, actually. But that doesn't make any sense either. So, totally recommend folks to, just try searching for things and checking out Etherscan when, the opportunity comes up. It's not always super easy to, just kind of tell randomly. Again, if you want an image that's kind of a short synopsis of the properties, I posted it in the cheat sheet. Again, we got a lot of this information from the Crypto Illuminati website and have updated it with the Bankless DAO multisig and Bankless token information. Does anybody have any questions or anything that they would like to scan that we can check out? If not, this is the end of the session.
Thanks, Ernest. Good session. So,
Yeah, not too bad. Pretty introductory, but fundamentally, you you just gotta try using Etherscan. It's been, really the big thing that I've used it for is, so on multisigs, we've had on one particular multisig, we've had transactions that appeared in the multisig that didn't really jive with what we were doing with the multisig. So we were able to actually look into the contract details of this transaction that was created in our multisig, and we saw some just weird information that we didn't recognize. And so we immediately rejected that transaction. But had we approved the transaction that happened, who knows what could have happened.
yeah,
So
I also wanted to say that we could use it to check out any the information about the DAO or multi-sig that we want to get associated with. I think from there we can find out the histories, the transactions they've done, and just know whether it's something we should get involved in or not.
yep. And anytime you go to buy an NFT, you want to run it through Etherscan. Um, if you hear of a project and they won't tell you the contract website or give you the contract details, this is a big red flag. Um, all right, well, this was a nice short little workshop. Appreciate folks showing up that did. And and we now have a we now have a feedback form. We'll put this into the into the into the cheat sheet.
All right, thanks, Ernest.
Yeah, thank you everybody,
All
and
right, bye everyone.
have a wonderful day.
Yeah,
Thank you, Ernest.